Greetings and welcome to Synergy Bonus. We are down a Vigorax today, so we're going to talk about a game we like and he doesn't.
Not that he doesn't, he's just never played it.
It was too slow for him. Speaking of slow, are you a fan of history? Do you have a soft spot for the War of the Roses? But do you think it could be better with magic and an ancient evil coming forth to just wipe out mankind? Alternatively, did you like Game of Thrones, but wish it didn't get shitty halfway through? We have a game for you.
Yes, we do. We're talking about Final Fantasy Tactics on the original PlayStation. Came out in June of 1997 and in the US, January of 98.
Yes. It was developed by Yasumi Matsuno, who was a dev previously of Quest Studios. They developed Ogre Battle and Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together.
Now, this game came out by Square. Like I said,
Squaresoft, not Square Enix, because this is back when Square was actually capable of doing good things.
Yes.
And not milking their old stuff.
And this game got a re-release in actually 2007 as War of the Lions, which featured retranslation, and I hate it.
The voice acting, animated cutscenes.
The animated cutscenes are nice, the voice acting's okay.
New secret characters.
Just the translation's bad. Or the good translation I don't like, but whatever. We'll get into that.
Well, this game was created after Ogre Battle and Tactics Ogre Let Us Play Together, and following Yasumi Matsuno's departure from Quest. He was approached for this because the devs at Squaresoft, the higher-ups, decided they needed to make a strategy game, and at that point in time, he was the kingmaker of strategy RPGs in Japanese markets. So, as he had done a historical allegory in Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together, specifically the Yugoslavian Wars, in this one, he did the War of the Roses in England. And as with Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together, there is an overarching theme to the game. In Tactics Ogre, it was racial conflict because Yugoslavian wars. In Final Fantasy Tactics, it's a class-based society, and the idea of someone who has such skill and capability being trapped in their role that's been assigned to them by birth, and can they ever escape from it? This is symbolized by one of the main characters, Delita Hyria, or
yes.
Hyrule.
And Delita is the only character, well, I shouldn't say the only character, one of the characters in the game that will join your party, but you can't control. He'll come and go periodically. Something
that was new to the series called it wasn't new. Final Fantasy VI kind of had guests,
like with
but you could control them.
General Leo, yeah.
But you actually can't control guest characters. They'll actually take up a party slot.
And kind of run on their own accord.
Yep.
This can be abused later on in the form of Gafgarian, but...
And it can also be abused in the idea of, well, the mission says that I just have to kill those guys. However, you're an idiot and you're hogging all the experience.
Kill you, and I'm going to go about my business. So, as Greg said, this is a tactical RPG. It is turn-based, but it introduced a charge time system. Every character has a different charge time when they'll enact in there. It's essentially initiative from tabletop.
It's kind of initiative. It's kind of based off the old ATB systems from like Final Fantasy 5 and 6. Mm-hmm. Eventually got used in the Final Fantasy 7, but more refined. Each character, and then which class they're in and how they've leveled in classes, changes how much charge they generate each turn. Someone who's incredibly slow and a heavy armor class, yeah, they'll get their turn in like 4 turns. Mm-hmm. The thief, yeah, he's going to get his turn
a few times.
A ninja, you're going to hate ninjas.
This brought back the job system that was present in Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy III.
Yes.
And it actually boasts 20 job classes for your generic characters, and there's a number of special class characters that you can get as well. That being said, this game has near normal XP, and it also has job points. So quite often, I'll be running around just beating up my own people just to get that extra little job.
Or if you're like me and you're a sadist and you figured out the leveling system for leveling up in a job class, increasing attributes on your actual character, you'll find some traps that you can step on that remove a level from your character. So you'll go and level them up a good deal in one class to go and, I don't know, up their strength or their initiative speed, and then just go and have them step on that trap repeatedly so they're back to level 1 and switch their class.
That is...
I only do it in Chapter 1.
Absolutely insane is what that is.
Then again, also in Chapter 1, I make sure I have ninjas by the time I get to Door to Trade City.
Yeah, this game actually has a couple extra battle features with the Brave and Faith system and the Zodiac system. The Brave and Faith, go ahead.
Brave, they're kind of a system specifically with Faith. They're double-edged swords in both regards. If your Brave's high enough, you have a higher chance of dodging incoming attacks, specifically if you have Blade Grasp from the Samurai class, or Grab Arrow, Counter, a couple of other ones. Hamedo, I think, was the one where it's the monk
I hit
move.
you before you hit me.
Yes, the monk counterattack before you hit me ability. They'll trigger higher if you have a higher Brave. However, if your Brave is too low, there's a chance that character will actually leave your party forever because they're a chicken. Also, if you get a low enough Brave from status effects in battle, you'll literally turn into a chicken. It's a status debuff.
That's amazing. I didn't actually know that.
Oh, I abuse that as all hell because Beowulf, a character you can recruit, uses magic on his sword. One of them is Chicken Heart. Lowers the enemy's Brave by 5. That makes the fight with Elmdor so much easier when he can't attack you because he's a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
But Faith, to the counterpoint, whereas Bravery deals with tests of brawn, Faith deals with magic. If you have incredibly low magic, you permanently gain the status effect Atheist. Magic has no effect on you going forward.
Great.
Black magic, summon magic, time magic.
Healing magic.
Healing magic, yes. Resurrect will not work on you because you don't believe in God, even though you're dead now. And you have 3 turns before you're dead forever.
Yeah, so Phoenix down.
Yes. Counterpoint, if you have an incredibly high faith score, above 97, that person might go and leave your party because they feel a higher calling that they cannot serve in this party.
Yeah.
And also, magic really screws them up.
It's a very interesting system that they've included. And like I said, they added like a Zodiac system. It's basically your star chart, your alignment. I'm a Pisces, so one of the characters in the game that's a Pisces, we and I have a hard time with each other.
But not nearly as bad as you would with the opposite zodiac of the opposite gender. They're going to jack you up, but at the same time, you're going to hurt them. But there's going to be that one zodiac that's in polar opposite of both of you that is really going to screw you up.
It's a very minor thing, but sometimes you get into battle and it's like, why is this going so bad? Turns out it's the zodiac symbols.
And sometimes a fight that he might have a problem with, I steamroll because, well, why did this happen? Well, it was same type zodiac fighting each other. It's a test of brawn at that point.
Yeah. So it's neat. You can abuse it and whatnot. Let me get into the story a little bit.
Okay, well, this is something that spawned off later on as time went on. Final Fantasy Tactics is set in the same universe as Final Fantasy XII and Final Fantasy Revenant Wings. It is in the setting of Ivalice, or however they pronounce it because they keep changing pronunciations.
Also, Vagrant Story.
Yes, Vagrant Story. Also, Lords of Vermilion 3 references.
All I know is that they took maps from several of these games, and it makes up the entirety of Ivalice,
however you pronounce it. Like, if you take the world map from Final Fantasy XII, there we are, and go and attach, yep, there's the map of Ivalice. They connect together. It's the same continent, just at opposite ends.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a couple of 100 years difference in time frame. Basic setup. There has been this long-standing war between the Kingdom of Ivalice and their neighbor of Ramada? What was the...
I think it was Ramada.
There we are. Okay. To the north. This has been a long, drawn-out war. 100 years war, one might call it.
50-year war.
Yes, but I was referencing the historical
I know
war.
you were. I'm just taking.
And this has ended in a truce, and the people are returning home, and some of those who have joined the military and told that they would receive benefits and pay and all of these great things for their services, they got the boot. And they're destitute. So, as people are destitute and starving, often do, revolt is brewing. Cue the Death Corps, or the Corpse Brigade, depends on your translation.
I do like Deathcore a lot better.
It's the original.
I know. I like everything from the original translation.
You play Ramza Bolve, or Beowulf, or whatever.
However you want to pronounce this.
A young bastard son of a prominent noble family going through the Garland Officers Academy to become a knight. And you're being told to put down peasant revolts because people are starving to death.
Yep.
As things go on, you find out more and more that actually everyone is corrupt and there's a lot of political machinations going on. You can't trust people you think you trust. The man August, or Argath, who seems to be your friend, is actually a backstabbing prick. Your friend Delita, who's been your friend since childhood, an incredibly vengeful jerk after everything happens. Your brothers, heartless bastards. And you're the bastard.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to kind of touch here on the translation as he's naming names here. I hate the War of the Lions translation. It is the proper names for the characters, but...
It's the whole Eris, Aerith argument.
Right.
Tifa, Tifa.
So, you have Ramza's father, Balbanes. It's translated to Barbernath. I'm like, ew. Like, why? Vormov is Fulmarv now. Velius is Bellius, and Elgus is Argath. That's just a few of them there.
Those are actually important plot characters.
And it's just they're very hard-sounding names, and I hate that. Like Elgus, I mean, Argath sounds just like a prick, but Elgus sounds like just a prick I want to murder, and he really is.
To be fair, I've saved the game at the point where I kill August numerous times. Plot spoiler.
Yes.
It's a 20-year-old game. But as things go on, you find out you can't go and stand how the nobles are acting, so Ramza revokes his nobility status, takes up the name of his mother, and becomes a mercenary, only to get dragged back into the world of politics and actually an ancient conspiracy to awaken an ancient evil that people may or may not view as the setting's Jesus. There's actually a book that is the equivalency of the Gospel of Judas you can find in-game, that whenever you read it, it permanently lowers your faith score.
Yes, if you read it, it talks about Saint Ajora, the human, rather Saint Ajora, the, what do you call it, savior?
The saint.
The saint. That's the best way.
The Germanic scriptures.
Yep. Yeah, that's...
Also, it turns out that the 12 Zodiac Braves that fought the evil alongside the anointed Saint Ajora, yep, they're actually the Zodiac Braves from Final Fantasy XII, and they're demons.
Yep, they are full-on demons.
And the Zodiac Stones used to summon them. Incredibly key plot items because, oh crap, I am dying, I have one regret.
Guess what? We'll let you take care of that. Give me your soul.
Give us your soul and let us use your body. We'll fulfill your wish. You want revenge for your slain sister? Okay, that sounds good. By the time that man dies, he forgets why he made the deal, and also he doesn't care about the fact his sister's dead. At that point, that man is just a husk being worn by a demon.
Yep.
Counterpoint, in one instance in the game, when someone actually makes a self-sacrificing wish on the stone, there is no monkey's paw. It just does it.
Mm-hmm. That would be Rafa
and
resurrecting Malik. Yeah, it's a chapter 3 is by far the best freaking chapter in this game, hands down.
The game is incredibly deep. It's just the beginning is very slow. It's turn-based strategy.
It is turn-based strategy. If you're working up, that's one of the things I want to kind of touch on here. Is there's no maps that you go to. It's a world map with dots, and if it's a red dot, you're going to have an event there, whether
possibly
a battle or a plot point. You can't get into combat in cities unless it's a plot battle in the city. other than that, that's how you're going to work up. It can be very slow grind, so it makes sense that Trav, I mean, he complained about the camera.
As you pointed out, red are plot or script battle. Blue, that's a town. You can buy shit. Unless there's a scripted battle and they didn't give you a heads up.
Yeah.
High Order Trade City in the beginning of Chapter 2. Green, it's a plains, rock, it's a mountain area. It's a wilderness area that you've done a battle encounter in before and would serve as a designated spot for possible encounter.
So, like you said, it's kind of a slow pace with your battles and everything, but the story is so rich and deep and whatnot, and you find like that the church is just so corrupt.
The Knights Templar that you encounter.
The Shrine Knights.
Yes.
A good chunk of them are actually Zodiac Braves.
Or being manipulated and groomed to become a Zodiac Brave.
Like, I'm going to take Islud here. His father...
Formov.
Is a Lusavi demon. And he has no clue until...
Neither does his sister, Melidol. Or Meludial.
Until his father changes in front of him and ends up just butchering his own son, essentially.
Because his son dared stand before him when he was going to murder someone or capture someone that Islud was protecting. Formov, Hashamal?
Yeah, Hashamal.
Hashamal just butchered him without a problem because Hashamal's an endgame boss.
Yes.
This is chapter 2.
Yeah, 3. That's chapter 3. But, like, the characters are just so well written, and once you really get into it, and I'm going to say, even after the first few battles in the first chapter, you get into it, and you feel their plights, you feel everything, you want to see this to the end. And even after you complete the game, there are still questions you're asking. And this game includes an encyclopedia of every character.
Something they took from Tactics Ogre Let Us Claim Together. There is an encyclopedia of characters. And like Tactics Ogre, it updates as events go on. So, that random Death Corps lieutenant that you butchered at these planes, and the next battle that you encounter in the Death Corps, you find out some information about them. Their character encyclopedia entry has been updated. Killed by you at this battle. Also, here's some backstory about them to make you feel bad. Here's some information about your main character that changes as things goes. Here's a character that you could have heard about in a bar conversation in chapter 1. 4 chapters later, oh shit, that guy's actually important now.
Yep. There are a number of characters that you never see in game. Their names are mentioned in passing. That's it.
And there's a lot of history.
There's a whole history on them. There's a face set for them. It's brilliant. And this, at the end of the day, there are 2 stories going on. There's Ramza's story going on. Ramza is your main character, and Delita, his best friend. Delita is the commoner who becomes king.
Ramza is the noble son who gives up everything to live true to himself.
And it's just a wonderful, wonderful
It's
story.
actually a heartbreaking story at the end with the phrase, and it's a 20-year-old game. Spoiler, I don't care. Ramza, was it worth it?
Yeah. Like, that's
if I had another choice, I would have gone with you.
Like, it's moving. It just, at the end, it's just all moving.
Going into it, Delita being the commoner who's constantly aspiring higher for the power to prevent what happened to him to happen to anyone else, keeps backstabbing, betraying, and manipulating until in the end, the one person he loves more than anything in the world
betrays
knows they can't trust him because if they ever cross him, he'll dispose of them, despite the fact he loves her. So she decides to murder the hypotenuse.
Yep. It's just, again, I'm going to say it again, it's wonderful. And the score to this game reflects that. The soundtrack is absolutely superb.
A full, over 60 tracks, full orchestral. First one in the Final Fantasy series to get this kind of treatment. One Winged Angel was one orchestral track. This is 2-disc album orchestral track. Also, not counting the Legends series, which is technically the Saga series. This is the first Final Fantasy game to not have Nobuo Uematsu responsible for it.
But it's still
compared to his best work.
Phenomenal soundtrack. I go to it when I'm just writing or just I need just a mood piece. It's very great for tabletop.
Triception, I think is the track, is one of my favorites. Just to listen to when I'm working on a D&D session.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's a phenomenal game, and like I said, this originally came out on the PlayStation and was re-released on the PSP and mobile as War of the Lions. So you can definitely play it nowadays. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish it would be more available on more systems, platforms, because I feel more people need to play it.
And for a long time, it has to do with the fact that Square didn't give a lot of love to the series, with the exception of Final Fantasy XII and Revenant Wings, which are their own thing. They're just shared universe. We got what? Advance 2?
And that's about it. Like, they're not terrible, but they're nowhere near the quality that this game is. This game sets the bar. Like, this is probably my favorite Final Fantasy, but it's not. It's its own beast. It's not a numbered Final Fantasy for me. It's on my top 10 list of RPGs. It is in the top 5,
with the exception of Vagrant Story, which came out 2 years later. The advanced games, which were handheld and were really weird. Squaresoft and Square Enix did not reference tactics for the better part of a decade and a half, with the exception of the War of the Lion remake, which got issues for porting, the translation pissing people off,
Slow down.
That's the porting. But there was so many issues with it. And then just recently in Dissidia NT, we finally get a reference of hey, Ramza.
a character.
Oh, Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, Stormblood. We have one quest chain involving Ivalice. We remember these things. Yeah, that'd be nice if we got another one.
Didn't the director say that he said, hey, maybe I should make another one of these before I die?
Yes, Yasumi Matsuno gets Twitter messages, emails from fans saying, when are you going to make another Tactics Ogre game? When are you going to make an Ogre Battle game? I repeat myself. Or another Final Fantasy Tactics, and goes, I really need to do another one of those before I die.
Yeah. And I just hope the quality is as good as this game is. And this game even had little nods to other games in the series. It had Cloud as a special guest character in the remastering, whatever you want to call it.
They added in Luso and Balthier.
Yep.
Let's see, you've got
references to the materia.
You've got references to various different Final Fantasy games in the Proposition side jobs, and also in just some characters, like the Chocobo that you can recruit. That's a special character in the beginning of Chapter 2. Boko. That's Bart's Chocobo from Final Fantasy V. Mm-hmm. Some of the jobs referencing Gulug or Gulg Volcano.
Yep.
Final Fantasy 1. Matoya Cave.
Garland Magic City.
Yes.
And Matoya, like you just said, Matoya's Cave. There's wonderful references all about, and I'm going to say, we could gush on this all day.
Oh,
we really could. But I'm going to say play this. I would recommend it. Hands down, 10 out of 10 from me. I don't know about you, but
it's one of my favorite RPGs ever, next to Chrono Trigger, and it beats out the rest of the numbered Final Fantasy series. Mm-hmm. Baldur's Gate actually falls to second to this. Third. Chrono Trigger has first.
Chrono Trigger is my number one RPG.
Chrono Trigger, Tactics, the Baldur's Gate series.
Maybe we should have a little discussion about that after. But with that, good night, good gaming, and we'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed what you saw.
Let us know. Give us a like and a comment down below.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to make sure you get all notifications from us.
And as always,
good night
and good gaming.